So my name's Jenna. I onboarded with you. And then we're going to go through qualifying potential buyers and sellers. So today we're basically going to start with the objectives for today, which are identifying where and how to lead generate with you. And then, there we go. We can identify where and how to lead generate for buyers and sellers, classify leads by ability and motivation, and then qualify a buyer and seller in preparation for an appointment. To start thinking about what you will learn today, let's consider what questions we might have and what we'd like to learn more about. Then it says find a partner, but you can just talk to me. Like, what questions do you have and what would you like to learn about in terms of those objectives that we just went over? Yeah, just anything and everything. So here's a quote from the book Shift. Your number one job as a real estate agent is to find ways to get in the path of the motivated buyers and sellers. Congratulations, the lead generation and follow-up habits you have started are the first step to fulfilling what Gary Keller says is our number one job. The second half of this quote contains a very important word, motivated. When we follow the 80-20 principle, one of the KW6 personal perspectives that we covered in day one, we focus our 20% on our most motivated buyers and sellers. And today we will cover how to qualify our leads and contacts to uncover how motivated and able they are to transact. So let's begin with finding the motivated. When we are new to something, it can be easy to get caught up in the misunderstandings that block success. Remember the lesson in day one about limited beliefs? That's what misunderstandings are. Unlimit your thinking to move forward. So it says, share an example of a myth you held about lead generation. So yeah, like a mhm. Like what your sphere is and like what you can create of it. Yeah. 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 They could open you up to more people. If they're not looking for a house. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, Also that like another like misunderstanding is that you have to like invest a lot of money in like those leads. So like a lot of times people buy leads, which is a way, but like if you're just starting up and you don't have that leverage, then that's not really attainable for you, especially if you're not in active business. But the truth is that lead generation for buyers and sellers, they don't have to cost money. That can come through, like you said, like other people in your sphere. So like people that you grew up with, people in this office, people that you know, speak to at a friend's birthday party, even like that. Those are all ways that people can come in. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So So the National Association of Realtors collects data every year on buyers and sellers' experiences with the real estate transaction. This table shows the results from the survey of buyers from 2021. So what do these numbers tell us about where to find potential buyers? Yeah, a huge part of it is from referrals from friends, neighbors, relatives, even from like random strangers that you might speak to in the grocery store, and then you mention that you're a real estate agent. They're like, oh, well, my mom is actually looking for a house, or my mom is thinking about, selling her house. It's a crazy number compared to everything else. Yeah. I think a lot of people think that they have to go like do all these extra stuffs like the open houses, the website, like you know, all of the extra stuff, but it actually doesn't give you as much business as just simply getting referrals from other people. But also, yeah, but also referrals don't really like fall into your lap. You kind of have to like go seeking for them. You have to like put yourself out there to be able to get those referrals to you. Yeah. Sometimes they might fall in your lap. Yeah. Um, so more buyers are finding their agents through referrals from than any other source, which means are the more people who know you are an agent, the more potential you must help them with a home purchase and the more likelihood for referrals. So it also confirms that a listing can be leveraged to generate buyer leads. So like if you have a listing, then more people will come to you because of that listing. But usually, again, those are for referrals as well. And then once you get business and you close out, then that like previous transaction that you had from that previous closing, like that's just another connection that you can continue that relationship with. So what methods of lead generation and follow-up have we covered in Ignite that align with where buyers find agents? Yeah, yeah, that's a big one, especially nowadays, like keeping up with like Facebook and not just, I mean, I guess maybe this wouldn't be social media, but technology in general, just like text messages and like calling them up. Oh, Peyton, I didn't get him the shirt, but here are the keys. I didn't get Scott the shirt, but here are the keys. Am I? It was mute. Oh. All right. So this is a graph about how sellers found their agents. So it's pretty much very similar to how agents find the buyers. Or no, it's pretty similar how buyers found their agents. Sellers is basically the same thing. It's not that much different. It's referrals. That's Peyton. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Open house is higher on buyers than this open house for sellers. Oh yeah, yeah. But still, there's still a little bit of people. So what do these numbers tell us about where to find potential sellers? It's going to be the same answer as the one before. It's referrals. Make it have, yeah, yeah. Even like, and if you're like you're starting out your business, so you haven't had any closings yet, but look at the percentage with used agent previously for transaction. That gives you a lot of opportunity with each and every closing you have or transaction you have. Because I think a lot of the agents here like still reach out to their past buyers from years ago because that gives them that kind of potential referrals. Or if they're, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like buyers, sellers are finding their agents through referrals. A higher percentage are using an agent that they have bought or sold with before. This is a great reminder that follow-up isn't just for new leads or contacts. We should maintain relationships with our clients post-transaction for future businesses and referrals. And if you ever need me to like repeat anything or like go back, just let me know. So, as you've been experiencing, Keller Williams has a defined model and system for everything you need to do in real estate. Likewise, KW has its own language like leads and contacts, which you already are familiar with. Opportunities is a word in command that we use to define your sales pipeline of business. It tracks all your potential deals or transactions as they move through your sales pipeline. It's a best practice to put your A, B, and C potential clients into the opportunities pipeline in command to track their progress. You can see on the screen or when you open up command opportunities that it'll track your clients from the cultivate stage all the way to the closing stage and getting paid. To learn more about using opportunities, check out Command Your Business on Connect. That's what it's called. Any questions about that? Yeah. So now we're going to go through classify and be able, ready, and willing. You've probably heard the phrase ready, willing, and able, or ready, able, and willing in many contexts. In real estate, we think about this order a little differently. We say able, ready, and willing when we are classifying our potential buyers and sellers. Why do we start with the able? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a potential buyer might need time to say, hey, yeah, Kristen, we can find us up. No, you're good.
Did you guys do this? I sent you this link yesterday. If you didn't do it, don't worry about it.
No. So even though all leads and contacts have potential, they're not all going to close a home in the next month. Some contacts might not be able to either buy or sell at this time. So a potential buyer might need time to save money for a down payment or work on their credit worthiness to be able to obtain a mortgage. Hi, are you joining? Yeah. Do you have a guide? So we're talking about qualifying potential buyers and sellers. All right. So a potential buyer might need time to save money for a down payment or work on their credit worthiness to be able to obtain a mortgage. And a seller might not be able to sell because they do not have full rights to the property or have like non-mortgage liens on the property. So we start with able so that we are able to devote the right amount of time and resources for each potential client based on their needs and where they are. Focus becomes increasingly possible in direct proportion to how clear you are about what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it. This quote doesn't just apply to us as agents, it applies to everyone. When buyers and sellers know what they want, when they want it, and what they need to do to get it, then our role as agents is clear to help them find the property they desire and close the transaction. Today, we're going to cover how to know when a contract is able, ready, and willing to buy or sell. So when we are determining the able, ready, and willingness of a potential client, we emphasize come from curiosity. Why do we stress this? So it involves a lot of, so it doesn't give me the answer. I mean, why do we emphasize come from curiosity when we are determining like the able, the ready, the willingness when it comes to buyers and sellers? I would assume that it's because come from curiosity, like we want to be aware of everything that's going on in the person's life in order so that we know that they're ready to buy a house. Um, yeah. So this is how we would like define all three. The able is a potential client that is financially and legally capable of completing a transaction now. The ready is potential client is motivated and prepared to make strategic decisions now. And then the willing is the potential client is eager to buy, sell, or both. How can we use this framework to help us differentiate buyers and sellers who will be doing business in the next 14 days from potential buyers and sellers that we need to continue to cultivate until they're ready to transact? So like some of our clients are like ready right now, and then some of our clients need some more time to get everything on their end in order for them to, make it have it possible for them to buy or sell a house. So we need to like kind of cultivate them and stay in contact with them and check up on them and build that relationship so that when they are ready to buy a house, like you're their person. Uh, so like we kind of putting the clients in one of these areas will help us determine that, okay, this person is ready, like they're able to buy a house. Or, oh, this person is like ready, but they still need to figure out some things. So this is the starting point for the ABC framework, where you might think of this in terms of the cultivate phase in your opportunities pipeline and command. Any questions? So far? Okay. In session 11, convert possible business into profitable business, we covered how to convert leads to appointments. Then in session 12, nurture relationships, we covered staying in a relationship with contacts who are not ready to transact. How do we know whether our potential client is ready to close for an appointment or close for a continued relationship? Any ideas? So how do we know whether our potential client is ready to close for an appointment or close for a continued relationship? Yeah, like not when, but like how do we know whether they're, yeah. Yeah. Hmm. So I would say that if your buyer or seller is able, ready, and willing to do business in the next 2 weeks, then they're ready to close for an appointment. And if they are able, ready, and willing to do business in 3+ months, like they're not ready yet, all the way committed to buy a house like now and soon, it takes more time, then that's kind of when you would kind of start that continued relationship so that when they're closer to the time they buy a house or they're ready for that, then you still have that relationship going through them with them. When we have someone who is able, ready, and willing and motivated to do business soon, those are A buyers and sellers. Our number one goal is to secure the appointment and close with a signed buyer's agreement or a listing agreement. Our B buyers and sellers are either unable, not ready, or not willing right now. They may be motivated and something needs to happen first. Our goal with B buyers and sellers is to follow up with frequency and intensity using touch plans to attract offers that elicit responses from them. And C buyers and sellers have no immediate need to transact. These are the perfect candidates for longer term nurtures and the 36 touch plan that you developed in session 12. So with the able, ready, and willing framework in hand, we are almost ready to qualify potential buyers and sellers. What we need now are the questions and conversation starters that will help us determine who is able, ready, and willing. In this section, we are going to cover how to use the buyer lead sheet and the pre-listing questionnaire in our qualification tools. In the last section, we started with the win-win of qualification. Our potential clients win because we provide them with the right value at the right time, and we win because we get to focus our attention on helping clients who are ready to buy or sell. Based on what we covered in previous sessions about segmenting your database, what might be some additional advantages of qualifying leads or contracts? Yeah, like what might be some additional advantages of qualifying leads and contracts? I didn't even know this one. We're learning together. So it says here, explain how, so qualifying our leads and contacts can help us better engage with the follow-up. Our B buyers often need different messages such as how to save more for a down payment or information about changes in interest rates that could impact their buying power. Our A buyers need to know what listings are available right now that fit their home wish list. Meanwhile, our C buyers might be interested in a potential change in their current neighborhood, like new restaurants, shopping options, or road construction. We can make our touches more valuable to our database by matching the message to the individual's current real estate needs. So by qualifying our leads, we're also identifying their current needs and wishes for what they're looking for and what they want. So then that way you can kind of tailor that to how you reach out to them. So the B buyers often need different messages such as how to save more for a down payment or information about changes in interest rates that could impact their buying power. We use the same buyer qualification process for all buyers and the same seller qualification process for all sellers to make sure we are always in compliance with fair housing regulations. So documenting your qualification system and having a checklist makes it easier to be consistent and ensures they will provide every client with the same high quality service consistently. A documented system can be a lifesaver if there's ever a question about your practices and the Federal Fair Housing Act. Use a buyer lead sheet to guide you through the qualification. A sample is included in your participation guide. So you would kind of going over a buyer consultation with a potential client. You'd be like, hi, my name is blank. I'm excited to help you find your new home. I'd like to start with some questions to make sure I can give you a 5-star customer experience. Let's start with some basics. What's the best email and phone number to reach you? And then thank you for those. What are the best times to be able to reach you? And has another agent taken you out and shown you any properties? And if they answer no, you say, I'm excited to be the agent who takes you to see some properties. Is there anyone else purchasing the home with you? And if they say yes, say, great, let's add their contact information too, so I can share listings with both of you. I want to help you find the home that fits your needs and the needs of anyone else who will be living with you. Then you find out who's living in the home with them. And then after that, you find out kind of what it meant, like what they're looking for, like dishwasher, laundry, garage, basement, backyard. Um, and then asking them why they're moving. Just kind of asking all the right questions in your buyer consultation so that you can figure out their needs and figure out kind of how to approach making sure that they find the right fit for them.
The consultation is after you after the spiders. Is this all sitting out contact with you?
This would probably be like, I would have to ask like Kristen, but I would assume that this would be from like one of your first appointments with the person. So it wouldn't be you like, it wouldn't be over a phone call. It would be like a buyer consultation, like sit down, you give them this form and they can fill it out or you can fill it out for them. And it just kind of gives you more of an idea of where they're at in their buying process or selling process. And so where you can put them in that like ABC thing. So like how close are they to closing or how close are they to buying? So this would be like this buyer lead sheet. Like you can fill it out and it would give you like their name, their number, their current address, if they have children, their phone number, what's the best way to get in touch with them so that you can have the best chance at a response. Um, you know, who's going to be living in the home for you? How long are you living? How long have you been looking for a home? Why are you moving? And then just kind of the basic information of like what they're looking for and what who they've already worked with to give you a better idea of how to proceed to the next steps. So, do you have any ahas so far? Yeah. What are they?
Determine where they are and the tailored messages that you can give the buyers so that you can figure out where they
Yeah.
are. Sellers. So who they refer to.
Hmm.
Like how there's just so many, it just shows you that it's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you're following.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So at this point, you have uncovered your A, your B, and your C buyers. When you uncover a buyer who is not able, ready, and willing to buy right now, that indicates there are a future transaction that you need to stay in a relationship with. Use your touch plans to nurture that relationship. We will learn more about working with A buyers in session 14, Win the Buyer, which is tomorrow. So we qualify seller leads with a pre-listing questionnaire that helps us build relationships with the 6 connecting questions and classify our potential sellers as A, B, or C. Our pre-listing questionnaire will also help us create a pre-listing packet that wins the listing agreement by focusing on the seller's motivations. Similar to the buyer lead sheet, the pre-listing questionnaire helps us connect and qualify potential sellers. So here's that kind of like, it's the same thing, but instead of buyers, it's sellers. So you'd be like, hi, I'd like to take about 5 minutes of your time to ask some important questions that will help me provide you with the best service. Let's start by making sure I have your correct contact information. Write their email and phone. And then what's the address of the home you're interested in selling? And then you would start like a market analysis, which would be like, how did you hear about me? Where are you moving? What's motivating you to move there? Is this in your thing? I think so, yeah. So all these questions um, are just kind of getting you set up for seeing where they're at in the process of and how committed they are in the process of selling their house. So you're basically using these questionnaires and the buyer consultation to kind of, you're using that to qualify them if they're a potential buyer for you or a potential seller for you. Yeah. And seeing like where they are, if they're like a few weeks into buying or selling, or if they're a few months before they buy or sell. So at this point, you have uncovered your A, B, and C sellers. When you uncover any seller who is not able, ready, and willing to buy right now, that indicates they're a future transaction that you need to stay in touch with. So again, like just like the buyers, you can use your touch plans to nurture that relationship. For example, you could send B and C potential sellers market updates that keep them informed of the equity they could leverage to purchase a new home or investment property. And then you will learn more about working with A sellers in session 15, which is Win the Seller, which will be on Monday. So tomorrow's Win the Buyer, and then Monday's Win the Seller. Your call to action for this session is to question and categorize your A, B, and C buyers and sellers in your database and set them on touch plans to stay on top of mind. Oh, here's an ad. I didn't know they had these in here. That's funny. Really? Well, it's not the end. No, we're not done yet. Oh my God, I'm going too far. Okay. All right. So this concludes our segment on lead follow-up, where we've covered the importance of following up with people in your database forever, so you remain top of mind when they have a real estate need. Because you don't always need a real estate need. People will like buy a house like once every like 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. But when that time does come, They're like, oh, I know someone from like years ago. Let me reach out to her. We covered the lead generation, which is the path to the appointment and signed agreement. We learned about strengthening relationships through touch plans that continually nurture them. If you ever have any questions about smart plans and touch plans, go to Peyton because she knows all about them and she'll help you like create those for sure. Yeah, yeah. And finally, we talked about how to qualify and categorize potential clients for now and future business. So I'm going to refer to the participant guide to build plans. So you would kind of follow up, convert, stay on top of mind, and then qualify buyers and sellers. So qualifying buyers and sellers would be determining like if they're your client or not for their property. So you'd continue that follow-up over time to build that relationship with them and to stay on top of their mind so that when they're ready, you'll be able to then qualify them as a buyer and seller for your business.
So I guess this is going to work for any time. I automatically this is what we start doing. Future.
Mhm.
Qualifying. That's how you ready to close. This week. But it would happen. That's not-
No.
Qualifying for it.
Yeah, because then I think they would be that that like a buyer.
Yeah.
So you would have also when you have your like sphere, not your sphere, but just more of the potential buyers and sellers that you have, because not everyone in your sphere is going to be a potential buyer or seller, but everyone that you know who's looking for a house or looking to sell, you would kind of place them into one of these categories of okay, how close are they to actually buying their house or actually selling their house? Like how like financially and emotionally and mentally ready are they? And then if they're like, oh, if they're wanting to sell this house or buy this house in the next 2 weeks, you'd put them at A. And then that would be kind of you immediately starting that relationship. So you'd kind of prioritize those A buyers and sellers, but you also don't want to forget about the B or C because you kind of use that follow-up plan to kind of stay on top of their mind so that when they are ready, they come to you. And then they kind of move up to be a buyer or seller. Okay. Each day in Ignite, you grow in how you think, feel, act, and implement what you've learned. From learning and ahas, you move towards achievement of your big life. And that's what we're all here for, right? To achieve our big goals. So write in your participant guide how they've grown in each of these areas. So how has your thinking changed? What do you feel differently about? How will your behaviors be different? Let me just go first. How has your thinking changed so far about new ideas and mindsets that you have? Mm,
I mean, if you have go back to the SOI, the goals,
mhm.
and just stay on top of their. Hopefully someone posts something. Concern me or get mad at people. It's way up. I don't know. Like, how the other things better than others, right?
Yeah.
But it never really, if they're, if I'm not a buyer, so, what experience they really have to go on.
Yeah.
She's great. About herself, you know, I'm like, she's great. So
Yeah.
think about how to
Yeah.
user services.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what do you feel differently about with this?
I feel like this is an important piece for the car.
Mhm.
To figure out where they're like, so
Yeah. Yeah. And then how will your behaviors be different going forward? Like what actions will you take?
taking the time
Mhm. Yeah. And then what tools, models, and systems will you use? Command, yeah, absolutely. Command, I would also say like social media, within command, there's the touch plans.
Yeah.
And that also holds you accountable because if you already have it set up, it's already gonna go out for you. Yeah. Yeah.
That is it.
Hmm.
This is the last day.
For you? Oh, I have like 10 more pages left. I'm on. There might not be something in there for you specifically. I still have a bit. It says here for the next 2 hours, but we're not going to do this for the next 2 hours. So we will work together on our success system, which consists of, so like I guess this would be like a schedule for you. So 20 minutes role play conversations with a partner, top agents practice every day. 10 minutes preparing a call list for the day. This is another system that top agents use to save them time. Once they have a list, they start at the top and call people without hesitation. And then for 45 minutes, real play, which is role play in the real world. It's making contact and having conversations with as many people as possible with the goal of establishing and nurturing valued relationships so that when people are ready to buy or sell, they think of you first. In 30 minutes, updating your database with information gathered from your conversations and following up on any promises made. Do this immediately after real play while it's fresh in your mind. These activities are the daily habits of success. So that would take you like 2 hours of your day. So like for your morning lead generation time, 20 minutes of role playing, 10 minutes of preparing your call list. And if you already have a call list prepared, then you don't have to spend that time doing that. 45 minutes of calling people and having conversations and leaving voicemails with them. And then 30 minutes of updating your database with information that you've gathered. So following up on saying they are ready to set an appointment with you, then set those appointments, or if they need help with something, then put that on your kind of to-do list and follow through with it. So these activities are the daily habits of success. You practice them every day in Ignite, and you will continue this rhythm for the rest of your career. So let's move our success system time, keeping in mind that the purpose is to develop the mindset, skills, and tools that you need to build the relationships and secure an appointment with potential buyers and sellers. Your daily success system tracker includes 10 conversations with your sphere, people you know and who you know, 10 contacts added to your database, name, phone, address, and more, 10 handwritten notes, express gratitude, or let people know you're in real estate and appreciate referrals. Utilize the 10-5-1 model for social media engagement, and then other enrichment. You will be accomplishing many of these goals during your success system time. Keep doing these activities outside of class time as well. During the final update time, you may also write notes and engage with social media if time allows. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the first job of a real estate agent is lead generation because the activity of generating leads is the foundation of your business. In addition, practicing conversations and dialogues will prepare you for success. That is, appointments, signed agreements, signed contracts, and sales closed. Of course, before we get involved in conversations with our sphere and lead generating, we must remember to comply with the TCPA and do not call regulations. Review this every Ignite session because it is critical that you protect yourself in the Market Center from any legal action. Make this a permanent habit, following all guidelines for calling and texting people. Today, you're going to make calls to your sphere and people in your database. Before you make any calls or texts, please remember to honor the TCPA and do not call lists, including those of your Market Center and state. If you have any questions or concerns about this, please consult your Market Center or attorney to ensure compliance. Refer to the pages at the beginning of your participation guide for more details. These guidelines are for your protection as well as for the protection of your clients. Let's review. You're good. You're good. Hey, girl. These guidelines are for your protection as well as for the protection of your clients. Let's review the importance of the Telephone Consumer Protection Act and the do not call restrictions for when you make calls or text your database. It says turn to the pages in your participant guide to go over this. Do you guys do this every session? Yeah. Says the Telephone Consumer Protection Act regulates calls and texts to cell phones and landlines, auto-dialed calls, pre-recorded calls, faxes, and calls to numbers on the do not call registry. Class action litigation for the TCPA violations is increasing, potentially exposing agents, market centers, and KWRI to catastrophic financial damages. Consult an attorney for guidance on the TCPA and DNC laws, including consent requirements, auto dialer restrictions, and pre-recorded messages. Auto dialers, the TCPA regulates calls and texts to a cell phone using an automatic telephone dialing system. Artificial voice and pre-recorded message. Never use artificial voice or pre-recorded messages without a consumer's prior express written consent. Penalties can cost up to $1,500 per violation. Prior express consent / within written consent. In certain cases, a caller must have prior express consent before making a call. In other cases, prior express written consent is required. And federal and state laws. Several states have their own laws governing telemarketing. Talk with your broker about any local and market center rules and do not call lists. Do not calls, do's and don'ts. Under federal law, sellers and telemarketers may not call individuals listed on the Federal Trade Commission's Do Not Call registry. Failure to comply with DNC laws could result in substantial government fines and/or civil legal actions. Consult an attorney regarding compliance with DNC laws. Subscribe to the registry. The DNC registry is hosted on a dedicated website. Your market center should subscribe to the registry and give you login credentials. Making any telemarketing calls without access to the registry violates federal law. Check before you call. Before making a call, check to see if the number is on any of these lists: the National Do Not Call Registry, State Do Not Call List, and the Market Center Agent List. If the number is on any of these lists, delete it. Honor consumer requests. Never call a number on the Do Not Call Registry. Honor an individual's request to be added to your internal DNC list. And then penalties for a DNC violation total is up to $43,280 per call. My gosh. Fines for violating the state DNC rule can vary from $100 to $25,000. I think we do as a market center. No, like as a whole. So it says here, your market center should subscribe to the registry and give you login credentials. So I would ask Peyton or Lindsay about that. Yeah. No, I don't think you do, because I feel like I would have heard about that by now. But no, I don't. I would ask Peyton or Lindsay about that after this. So yeah, it's essential that agents learn this now rather than later when they encounter trouble with non-compliance. So yeah. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. Let's begin by getting our mindset primed for success. We do this with an affirmation. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution. People are happy to be in a relationship with me. Turn to someone close to you and say this affirming message out loud. You know, heck yeah. So your daily lead generation time consists of 3 parts. Prepare. When you determine who you will connect with today before you begin. You will either write names on a conversation sheet or generate a list from your database of contacts. Take action. When you connect with people through a conversation, this is your most valuable activity. Building relationships with people in your database takes up most of your lead generation time. Maintain. When you update contacts in your database, you will enter additional information you've learned from your conversations and follow up on any commitments you made. Let's begin by first preparing your conversation sheet and your participant guide. Call contacts from your database, people you know, and referral names that you have been given by your contacts. Yeah, you're good. Obviously. What were we gonna say?
No.
I was gonna say, obviously, we're not gonna do this now. But that's kind of just what you would do when you're kind of calling people. Preparing, taking action, and calling them, and then maintaining. So updating, adding new contacts that you may have gotten, as well as doing the tasks that you talked about that you would do with that client.
Yeah.
There's a, so that's preparing, and then it's real play. Yeah. So the real play activities in the classroom are money-making activities done with the support and guidance of you and other participants. Every day in Ignite, we will spend time in lead generation activity. Have you been doing? Yeah. Yeah. Which is fine. There's not much here. But basically you would begin with that affirming message that we just said out loud, and then use the conversations you just practiced to make calls. You would suggest a meetup to reconnect, make notes in your conversation sheet that reflect the outcome of your conversations. Do this for each contact you call, and you will enter these in Command Leader. Call people for 45 minutes and contact as many people as possible. Let's say our affirmation once more. It's having us say the affirmation again. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. That's a good affirmation. Because I feel like when people are, you're cold calling, or not cold calling, you're calling your sphere, a lot of times people don't want to talk, or people are like, sorry, I'm not interested. It can be very like disheartening and discouraging to hear that.
Right.
But that's true. Like people, it's not that people don't want to be in a relationship with you, it's just that they might not be interested in, yeah, in that moment. But that doesn't mean that they are never going to buy a house in their life. Yeah.
And to say that, you know, contribution, so also that they should ask
Yeah.
that we know that
Yeah, absolutely. So now it's time to get into your database, preferably command, and either contact information and any updates you learned from your conversations. This is the maintain portion of your daily lead generation routine. This is also the time when you'll follow up with handwritten notes to people you called. Remember to express care and gratitude. Our success system time together for today is over, and yet building your successful real estate business isn't. If you didn't complete all your conversations, added contacts, handwritten notes, or followed up, finish those on your own with accountability partner. But we didn't do all that. Okay. It's my first time. Yeah, I'm a sub today. Well, I've taught a class before, but not Ignite. Thanks. Okay, so you can use Command and Connect for help with all of your systems. Go to Peyton and Lindsay for all of that. So there's Keller Williams University that have articles and videos, chat with support. And then there's also KW Marketplace and Connect Live on how to search topics for interest. There's a lot of different resources. You already did your command, like command kickstart, Peyton.
No, that's what I'm doing today.
Oh, you're doing that today? Okay, you'll learn a lot about that today then.
Every session I care about.
Yeah, it'll like click in your mind when you meet with Peyton, because there's so much in command that you're like, I don't even know what this all does, but the command kickstart will really help with that. All right. So the next session is session 14, win the buyer. So just bring that. Huh? Win the buyer. Your next session is session 14, win the buyer, and that's tomorrow at the same time. And that's pretty much it. Do you have anything for me or any questions about it? I was expecting there to be like a summary page.
So what you went over.
Yeah.
Are these printable? Fire extinguisher, the fire system, or do you have-
Um, I can ask. I'm gonna ask Peyton for you. They might be. They might be.